Tell me what you see here, Chris. Let's take a look.
Myself?
When I wake up in the morning and the alarm gets out of warning, I don't think I'll ever make it on time. By the time I grab my books and I give myself a look, I'm at the corner just in time to see the bus fly by. It's alright, 'cause I'm safe by the bell.
Hello and welcome back to Saved by the Bell boxing channel. Neither right, neither left, neither hardcore, neither casual, more casual. So, that's the end of it tonight. That was Saturday night fight night on Sky Sports Action. But was it full of action? No. Very disappointing card from pretty much top to bottom. The match, it was not great matchmaking all the way through this card, to be honest with you. I think what happened with David Allen didn't even save that card. It was poor. It was really poor. And Adam Smith must be having a long, hard look at himself and will be having a long, hard talk with Eddie Hearn. This is not good. Today has been full of revelation from Jarrell Miller, from the opponent announcement tonight live on Sky Sports for Dillian Whyte will be Oscar Rivas, but we'll go on and talk about that. Let's talk about the card tonight. So, first of all, the first card live on Sky Sports, not the YouTube, what we saw before, from, is her name Chantel Cameron? I don't know. I briefly watched it. Anyway, let's talk about Conor Benn. So Conor Benn was back after a lengthy layoff against Zoranovic. It wasn't great. Conor Benn seems to have realised that he's not his dad. Even though he shied away from being compared to his dad, he didn't like that. Now it seems to be they're pushing that he is Nigel Benn's son, the great super middleweight of the 90s. When he first started, he took on this form of being his Nigel Benn reincarnated, the son of very aggressive, very wide, very come forward, take shots, knockouts, trying to emulate what his dad did. There's only one Nigel Benn. Don't try and emulate it. He's a very special fighter. Conor Benn, unfortunately, isn't that special fighter. He seems to have reverted back now to being more careful, trying to take his time with his work out the opponent, a bit more feints, a few more flinches, trying to open up his opponent. His opponent was really quite good and really quite impressive. And I think he was unbeaten himself, Czechoslovakian champion. But the problem is, the interesting thing about Conor Benn was his pardon me, was his aggressive approach. That he could get knocked out, that he's going to knock people out, that it's going to be exciting. But now he's this thoughtful fighter that tries to work out his opponents, but he's not that good. So he's not that interesting to watch. He's trying to put more thought into it. His power really didn't have any effect. So he's not the same fighter before. So he's going to be a harder sell, because if he's going to go through rounds like that, being more thoughtful in what he's doing, and it's not a bad thing for him as a boxer and his health to do that, but the problem is he's not great, so he's going to be a hard sell. So they're going to have to use his dad's name to push him forward, because he really needs to move on leaps and bounds, because he's bang on average. I think most people would agree with me there. I saw nothing tonight that makes me think that this kid is that good, to be honest. He's lost that marketability, as I said, of being an all-action fighter. Now he's sort of trying to become this technical fighter, and I don't think he has the skills, the ability to go forward and become that fighter. Where he goes from here, he's talking about fighting Josh Kelly. Don't even go anywhere near Josh Kelly, because you will get knocked out. He will get knocked out. It's as simple as that. But we'll talk about Josh Kelly later on. Cordina Tannend. Cordina's a nice boxer. He's smooth, very controlled in there. Was very controlled in there. Very relaxed. Has a nice approach. Tannend is far more orthodox, hands up tight. there was a class above there. That, you know, the distance was you know, big in gaps of levels of quality. You know, Cordina, he puts his shots together well. He's very fluid, very smooth, and he just took his time to break him down. And you know, the class showed in that fight tonight. It was quite an easy task for him. Really, Tannen really didn't know what to do with him. Didn't really have any answers. You know, he was fighting against the tide constantly throughout from start to finish. I think if Cordina is matched well and brought on well, you know, you've got a possible future world champion there. So it was interesting. But again, these fights very much one-sided. You know, from the start of the card up until then. Then we have, you know, Josh Kelly. Now, Josh Kelly, I really like Josh Kelly. I like the arrogance. I like, you know, the head movements, the dancing, the hands down. I really love that. He's obviously very skilled, and he's obviously a very talented boxer. He'll put these hard shots, maybe 1, 2, 3 combinations at the most, but they're hard shots. And they take a lot out of him, so he's got to be very fit to do that for 12 rounds. He cut his eye, no big shakes, but you know, we got what we saw from Josh Kelly. We see that, we've seen it time and time again. He is a very confident, skilled, very much of an Adam Booth fighter. So there's a good relationship there between trainer and fighter, because you could see how Josh Kelly could work with Adam Booth and how Adam Booth could work with Josh Kelly. My only issue with Josh Kelly is, as he goes up slowly through the levels, fighting with these hands down, you know, he's going to get caught by guys. He's going to get caught. And I don't think, you know, better guys are going to let him off the hook like he was tonight, because he did get caught a few times because of that brashness, because of that cockiness. Now, there is small resemblances to Prince Nazim Hamid. You know, he sometimes will punch and take both feet off the floor, but that takes a lot out of you when you're hitting just these hard shots. So what he'll do 2, 3 hard shots, real power shots, and then he'll take a walk around, and then he'll compose himself, and then he'll go back to his work. He's better when his hands are up, so he's not more likely to get caught. Hopefully that's something Adam Booth can work on, because Adam Booth does talk about being a defensive fighter and his fighters not getting hit. He will get hit, the levels will go up. So it'll be interesting to see how he can adapt when he hits those high levels and he gets a better class of fighter in front of him. Can he do what he has done tonight, or what you've seen in previous fights, where he can, you know, mess around, where he can take the piss, where he can do pretty much what he wants to do when he wants to do it? It's going to be very difficult. Could you see him doing it against the Thurman, against the Crawford, against the Errol Spence? No way. It's not going to happen. So he's really got to tighten up on that defence. Maybe he just does it because he knows he can, because of the level he's fighting. Maybe when under the cosh, when under pressure, he will tighten up more, and he will look after that defence more, and stop him getting tagged when he's, you know, when he's going back and he's open. But, you know, again, we didn't see nothing to test him. Is it good matchmaking? I don't know. If you're looking to build a card, especially with Dave Allen as the headliner, your card's got to be strong and deep, and there's got to be some good competitive fights. And until the Josh Kelly, there was that Josh Kelly fight. It wasn't competitive. Cordina wasn't that competitive. Ben, it was only competitive because he's not really that good. You know, and the white chocolate fella, you know, just to throw a name on the card. So really, it was very one-sided. But yeah, Josh Kelly, you know, he'll learn from it. You know, he takes breathers. He looks good. He looks flashy. He hasn't got the power of Prince Nazim, I'll tell you that, because Prince Nazim had if you look at Prince Nazim, you look at his legs. His legs are big, and that's where his power came from. Josh Kelly doesn't have that big knockout power, but still, I like to watch him. You know, I like the flashiness. I like the cockiness. You know, that's something that I enjoy watching. But as I said, as he goes up in levels, you know, there's going to be issues raised there, unless, you know, as I said, he tightens it up as better as the opponents go. So you've got to start pushing him with people that are really going to make it difficult for him and not allow him that space or allow him to do what he really wants to do. So, Chisora Gashi. Well, goodness. I mean, at this point, halfway through this fight, Adam Smith must have been thinking, oh, Jesus. He was looking like someone's going to be knocking on his door asking for his resignation. He's going to be looking out for, Eddie Hearn's probably going to be ducking him all night after this because that was poor. Now, Chisora came in big. He came in 18 stone. And he looked big. He did look really big, although Gashi was 15 stone and obviously the smaller man. But Chisora looked big, looked a bit too weight. And I noticed this is what happened when David Price went to Dave Caldwell. He put on a lot of weight, didn't he? And look a lot bigger, not as lean as he has done since or as he was done previous. David Price, I always have to mention him. So he looked good. He looked good, but he looked bulky. And he was slow. It was very slow, very plodding. Couldn't cut off the ring. Now, I know there's a lot of hate for Gashi, but Gashi was taking a paycheck. He was surviving in there. And pretty much, I think maybe if he'd have got more involved, he would have got knocked out. I think he'd have got connected eventually. But when that happens, it's the job of the opponent, Derek Chisora, to make it difficult to him, not allow him to spin off and to come away and to step to one side. He has to cut the ring off better, which Derek Chisora hasn't got the footwork to do. He hasn't got the speed to do, and he looked a bit cumbersome at times. Many of those shots were very much telegraphed, and Gashi saw them a mile off and was quite happy, rightly or wrongly, to step around the ring and run around the ring and take these little runs as he was doing, which was really weird. I thought he would have given a better count of himself, but obviously not. So, it takes two to tango, but at the same time, Chisora, he needs to be putting people like that away, whether they're there to fight or not. I might be wrong, but I was not impressed with Derek Chisora tonight, and a lot can be blamed on the opponent, but for me, Derek Chisora was too big there. He seems to have lost this, he used to have this Frazier, bobbing your head, weaving underneath. He's lost all that now. He's very slow and methodical and throwing this jab to the belly. It just wasn't good, and I don't see where he goes. I don't think he reaches anyone now. If he comes in like that, and there's someone that will put the pressure on and that will have more of a go and is a bit lighter on his feet, he's going to get beaten. The only way you're going to get a good fight out of Chisora if it's a slugfest, and they just come head on. But anyone with a bit of movement, anyone with a bit of quick hands, he's in trouble. It's not going to work out for him because it looks like he's looking for that big shot. I think he's taken it from the Takam fight and thought, if I connect on a big shot, I can win a fight. And it looks like that seems to be the mentality. But I don't. I think he's 34. I don't see anywhere for him to go from here. I don't think this rebuilding. I think the good thing is he's got David Haye, and David Haye is very good at reinventing and publicising, as we've seen with himself. He could they've kind of reinvented Derek Chisora, this War Chisora, and the twilight of his career, but he's as good as ever, and he's got a new trainer, and he's this and he's that, and with that name that he brings, they're going to get him fights, aren't they? So I can see what they're going to do, but I can't see him really going anywhere because I just think he's past his best. And, that Takam fight was a little bit of luck he got on his side knocking Takam out, because that sort of reinvigorated his career, but I don't think it reinvigorated Dillian Whyte himself. And then those two fights, Derek Chisora himself, and those two fights with Dillian Whyte probably took a lot out of him. And I think at his age and the fights he's been through, I don't know. It could be a sad story for Derek Chisora, because there could be a decline here about to happen. So we get to the main event. The main event: Dave Allen, Lucas Browne. I talked about which sort of fighter out of these two would turn up tonight. Lucas Browne looked better. Looked in better shape than he did. He was a stone lighter. from when he fought Dillian Whyte. Dave Allen looked good on the scales, but again, as the fight started, Dave Allen looked like he was in that sparring partner mode, you know, and Lucas Browne was getting the upper hand and hitting with some good uppercuts and some good punches. No real great power behind it, but doing what Lucas Browne does, you know, pepper him with a few shots. But he's probably just got natural quite heavy hands anyway. But peppering him with a few shots, and it looked like it was, you know, it looked like I was thinking this is going to go, you know, the full distance, and Lucas Browne will win on points but lose on points because it's Dave Allen and there'd be a matchroom fixing going on. Although allegedly, I don't know, but that's just what I was thinking at the time. And then Dave Allen pulls out this magnificent body shot, and I love a body shot. Anyone who knows me loves a body shot, a lovely body shot. And just crumbles. And the thing is, when you get hit with a body shot, sometimes you ain't getting up. It's difficult to recover from a body shot. Anyone that's been hit with a body shot, and I have, it's almost, you know, you're gasping. It's very difficult to recover from it. Let's be honest, Lucas Browne did look his age, 40 years old. He looks old. You know, he looks like he's had a hard life, and I think his time has gone now, and I think he'll probably carry on, because all boxers love to carry on, because they always believe that they can reach that pinnacle that they had before, or that they're destined to reach, or whatever. But let's be honest, his time has come, it's gone, and he needs to just think about, you know, his health, you know, because if you're getting put away by Dave Allen, you know, you got to ask some questions. Dave Allen, well, I'm glad that he won. You know, hopefully it will put into him that, you know, if you do train hard, if you do get a trainer, if you do concentrate, if you do put the work in, you know, results will come, and it will move you forward, and which it has. It's moved him a step forward. Now only 2 fights away from a world title shot. From a world title shot. Anyway. So he hit him with his body shot. He's gone down. He's won the fight, and now he goes on. It's going to be interesting to see where Dave Allen, because he's got the support, whether you agree or not, that he should be headlining the O2, which I didn't really agree. He did, and he probably will again now if they find the right opponent. How far he can go, I don't know. Because he looked for the first 2 rounds, it was going back into old Dave Allen mode, which is the same which he did with Nick Webb, and then he pulled out that shot with Nick Webb. Now he's either really good and really clever, and that he knows what he's doing, and he's just waiting for the shot, you know, and he's just figuring his man out, or he's just hit lucky twice. I don't know. I don't know whether he's just hit lucky or that was part of the plan. Who knows? He's obviously got a bit of power when he puts it into motion. So it'll be interesting to see who his next opponent will be. You know, we'd all like him, I think, to win that British title. So, you know, I'd like to see him fight a Gorman, a Dubois, maybe fight Joe Joyce would be quite interesting. You know, I think Joe Joyce beats him, but that'd be a kind of good fight. I think that's the sort of people he needs to be looking at, and that is something, you know, if it was a Gorman, a Dubois, or a Joyce, that could headline the O2. You know, because he obviously showed he can headline the O2, so he's going to have to be a name. You know, you can't pull in, you know, a Kajanu or someone like that for Dave Allen to headline. I don't think that's going to work. I think it only worked possibly because, you know, people in Britain have an interest of Lucas Browne, have had experience of Lucas Browne, and know what he's about. You know, we've probably a lot of British boxing fans have followed Lucas Browne for some time. So I think that's why they got away with a headliner there, and what Dave Allen brings. So I think he's got to look at someone like a Joe Joyce, as I said, a Dubois, you know, but I don't know how this cross-channel, you know, BT with Gorman and Dubois, I don't know see how that works, but I'd like to see Joe Joyce, Dave Allen. But whether he'd take that, because he's always said he wouldn't take that. Anyway, so, but he didn't save the card. So looking at that card, it was poor. It was poor. It was a Saturday night card, and it was poor. I mean, you know, you could have, bar I think Lucas Browne, Allen, if you'd have betted on all the winners tonight, it would have been quite easy. Ben to win, Cordina to win, Josh Kelly to win, Chisora to win. You know, if you had that on accumulator, you might have made yourself a few quid. And if you look at it, it's probably right, because there was just, It was all very one-sided again, and you know they can't keep doing that. Sky Sports, they need to have a long, hard look at themselves, and I don't think it's what Eddie Hearn's feeding Adam Smith, and Adam Smith really, when you're tied into a contract with Matchroom, you've sort of got to take what they're giving you. You know, you can't go to Warren or to Hennessy or to anyone else, you know, any other promoters and say, yeah, we'd like that fight. You can't do it because they're tied into a contract, and I think this must be a worrying time for Sky Sports. They are going to try and push, you know, because they've got Wilder, Brazil. They're going to try and push that, and Joshua, they're going to try and push, but things are falling apart. Now, we had the announcement that Dillian Whyte will be fighting Oscar Rivas. I mean, what can you say? I mean, it's tough for Dillian Whyte because there's not that many opponents out there. You know, really, you know, that are options to fight him on that day. But it is a disappointing opponent, and it's going to be pay-per-view. That's not a pay-per-view fight. I'm sorry, it isn't. Oscar Rivas, they're going to sell him as being unbeaten and an Olympian, etc., etc. But, you know, he's what? Let me have a look. He's 26-0, 18 knockouts. But, you know, he's 31. He's only 6 foot. You know, his biggest win is Bryant Jennings, certainly in his last fight that he knocked out. But that's no great shakes. You know, he's not really... He's hardly fought out of Canada. I think he's fought out of Canada twice. He's fought out of Canada and twice in America. Once against Jason Petaway with 17-2, and against Bryant Jennings. So, you know, it's not a great fight. They're going to have to really, really stack a card. Really get some decent fights on to sell that as a pay-per-view, because he's Colombian. I don't know. I've not seen him. I've seen him fight. He's aggressive, but he's a small heavyweight. He's not a big heavyweight. I don't know what his English is like, so I don't know how he's going to be able to sell the fight, because, you know, someone like Dillian Whyte, he can sell a fight himself, but he likes to have, there needs to be a bit of back and forth, and there needs to be some animosity there when it gets Dillian Whyte. That's why people come and watch, and people get interested in it, and I don't think you're going to get that from Oscar Rivas. So the card's going to have to be deep, and it's quite mad that the top four... So you got the top, but it's difficult for Dillian Whyte because he can't fight the top three because they're fighting, you know, average opponents as well. So it's like, I think even Dillian Whyte, to be fair, I think himself, he's not not a con man, and I think even Dillian Whyte himself will be disappointed when he found out this was his opponent. You know, I think even Dillian Whyte's the sort of guy who would like a better opponent and would relish a better opponent, and this is just not. You know, the only thing you can say is unbeaten, 26-0, but Dillian Whyte beats him. And so you've got, you know, Tyson Fury fighting Schwartz, you've got Wilder fighting Brazil, and who's Anthony Joshua going to fight? You know, the big talk is Ortiz. Yeah, well, that's the best fight you can get. That's the best fight you can get, to be honest. So then, not Ortiz, Hunter. I mean, Mike, really? Hunter, you know, it's a poor fight. That is a poor fight. You know, Kanaki, I don't know whether he's still ruled himself out or what, but Kanaki doesn't last 3 rounds with Anthony Joshua. This is just, it's turning into a bit of a disaster. And I'm sure Dillian Whyte would have loved to have fought Fury, Wilder or Joshua, but he's just not getting the option. So he has to take whatever comes along, and this is what you get. Oscar Rivas Torres. So that is very disappointing. You know, the way they built it up on Sky Sports, that we've got a heavyweight announcement, and they got, you know, I heard it when Dillian Whyte said it, and it was just, well, you could see even he's disappointed that he's got this fight. He's got almost ashamed to say it. Oh, well, it's Oscar Rivas. Oscar Rivas. Do you know what I mean? He's like this. He's like shamed that this is, you know, because he says, I want to fight the best and blah blah blah, and this is what we get. It's poor. It's poor. And pay-per-view. So we had the big news today as well that Miller has come out and announced that he is a drug cheat, and that he knows he did it, and he was fully behind him doing it. I mean, in a way, it's good that he's come out and he's been, honest about it, because we've heard like Canelo with the meat or some dodgy taco he's had, or so many fighters that have it was a pre-workout, or I bought it over the counter, or so many fighters we've heard that blatantly lie about it. Do you know what I mean? What it's done to his career, I don't know why he did it. I don't get it. Well, though they've been said that he's probably been on it for months and months for previous fights. But I mean, if I was fighting, I suppose if he's got away with it before, he probably thought he was going to get away with it again. Not this time, Miller. Not this time, son. But at the same time, I'd be thinking, if you're going to earn so much money, win or lose, if you lose against for the world heavyweight title, it's no big deal. Don't worry about it. There's many people good fighters that have lost against champions for the heavyweight title. So there's nothing to really be ashamed of. And plus, you're going to earn yourself a shitload of dough. Now you've lost all of that. And I can see Gerald Miller, even though he's been honest about it, it makes no fucking difference. He cheated. But I could see him being a scapegoat for everyone and being hung out to dry. I could definitely see that. And I don't think he'll get anywhere near where he's got again. I think he'll be banished, which is quite sad, but deserved, because mate, you can't do it. Don't take drugs, even though you're probably thinking, well, he's taking it, they're taking it, I know this. Yeah, but so what? You got caught for it. Do you know what I mean? And even coming out clean and being honest, I think that's really screwed you. I think it screwed you more than if you lied about it. If you lied about it, you could still keep playing on that lie. And promoters can buy into that lie and say, well, yeah, it was an accident, it was over counter, this is why, blah, 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 blah. But he's still fighting. He's come out and said, I took steroids. It's like Lance Armstrong coming out saying he took a load of steroids. That's it, mate. You're done. It's over. It's over. You'll never reach those pinnacles. You'll never earn that money again. And I think because he's come out and being honest, his ban's going to be hefty. His ban's going to be hefty, a lot more heftier than it possibly would. If it's not, it's shameful, but I think it will be. And I think they will use him as a scapegoat and as a person, the poster boy of the boxing drug takers. I think he's going to be the poster boy. So that's very disappointing. But that's the news that come out today. So that's about it. That's about Morano. I don't know how long this has been. It's been a pretty long video. Yeah, like half an hour, which is a lot longer than I usually do. But anyway, thanks for tuning in. I know I've been a few days off, but kind of busy, work, kids, all that crazy shit. But really, thanks for dropping in, tuning in, subscribing, liking, sharing. I'm doing this. It's 20 to 12. I'm going to go off and try and catch Garcia, Granados, and try and hopefully stay awake for Khan and Crawford. So I'll try and make another video tomorrow at some point about those fights and the findings and what we saw. And will Khan get knocked out? Will Crawford win on points? Will Crawford knock him out? What will Khan do? Maybe a bit of Brook talk, because there's been a few interviews with Kell Brook and delusional Kell Brook. But we're going to try and make something happen tomorrow. So anyway, thanks for liking, sharing, comment, subscribe, notification, ding, 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 ding. And don't forget though, even though the sun's outside and it's shining and it's warm and it feels like summer, be careful out there.
When I wake up